All right, guys, today we're driving the 2024 Ford Mustang GT Premium. We have a 10-speed automatic, and yes, it's a 2024. For some reason, Ford can't seem to get us a current model year manual Mustang GT, but we'll take it. And we're actually taking this on a pretty long road trip this week down to Louisville, Kentucky, to test out the new Ford Expedition. So this is going to be a first impressions drive. We've already driven the Dark Horse with the 10-speed auto and the 5-liter V8, and we've driven the 2.3-liter EcoBoost Mustang, which was the same color as this. Yellow Splash Metallic. Unfortunately, this color is discontinued for the 2025 model year, so I guess if you find one of these used or still sitting on a lot, it's a pretty cool looking color in the Mustang GT or the 2.3-liter EcoBoost. Let's walk you guys around this. We'll talk about what it's been like to live with in my first day or two with this vehicle. Let's hop outside, give you guys some specs and info. So this has a 5-liter V8. It's naturally aspirated, of course. It makes 480 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. Only 20 horsepower shy of the Dark Horse. We have bright blue Brembo calipers, say that 5 times real fast, at all 4 corners. They look nice. The blue paint is an extra $500 option. Speaking of options, this has $14,000 worth of options on it. Base price on this is around 48 grand. As tested, this is almost $64,000. So getting up there in price. Is it just me, or is the new Mustang GT kind of expensive? I don't know. This seems like a lot of money, and it seems like there's some things missing in here. We have the Recaro seats. That's a $2,000 option. They're not heated or ventilated, and the seating position just seems a little bit too high, but otherwise the bolstering is fantastic. I'm 5'10", about 155 pounds, and I feel like I'm getting coddled in these seats. The new Mustang, I think, looks great. Again, not too different from the S550. Quad exhaust tips. I like the wheels. Lots of options on these cars. You can kind of customize them however you want in the Ford Mustang build configurator. Trunk space, about the same as it always has. Seats fold down. Let's take a look at that 5-liter V8. Hood struts. Nice. I mean, this is the only muscle car option these days with a V8. For now, hopefully that changes. Hopefully we get another Camaro someday with a V8. Hopefully we get another Charger Challenger again with a V8. But for now, Mustang has the market on this. It sounds fantastic, and it looks great as an engine bay. You could pop this hood at a car show and be proud that it's not just covered in plastic bits. Great looking car. This has got a lot of attention this week. However, I've never been cut off more than I have in the first day of driving this Mustang. So I don't know if the yellow is just invisible to people or what the deal is, but let's look at this window sticker. Let's break down some of the options here. We have a full window sticker for you guys to enjoy. Fuel economy, 16 city, 24 highway. Starting price on this is $47,380, and we have $14,815 worth of options, so almost 15 grand in options. Yellow Splash Metallic is $1,000. The 10-speed automatic is $1,600. The GT Performance Package, that's expensive, $5,300. That includes the Brembo brakes, the summer tires, the raised spoiler, 355 rear axle, and then we have the Mustang Night Pony Package, which is just kind of black and trim, and of course the black wheels, so that's $1,300. Grabber blue calipers with the logo, $495. Active exhaust, $1,225. You'll want that. Recaro seats. Oh, and the Magna Ride damping system, $1,750. We'll talk about how that drives a little later. But on first impressions, the Magna Ride in this is kind of firm, and that's in normal mode. So we'll see how that feels on the road today. Ergonomics, we've got this handbrake. There we go. You push it down to release. Pull up to engage. Press this Mustang button, you get a bunch of drive mode options, so you can choose your exhaust volume. Here's normal. There's quiet. Nice for startups in the morning. There's sport. And then there's track. It gets even louder. Honestly, not really noticing that much of a difference between normal, sport, and track. Quiet is pretty quiet. I tried to do a quiet startup in this Mustang this morning. It took about a minute for this screen to load in accessory mode. Otherwise, though, the infotainment has been surprisingly fast compared to other Mustangs that I've tested in this new generation. I had tons of infotainment glitches with the other 2 Mustangs that I've tested. This has been okay. CarPlay connects wirelessly. The ergonomics of this interior aren't amazing. I feel like I just don't have enough easy access and control to settings that I would be using on a regular basis, but it works. You've got kind of constant temperature control right here, these icons, fan speed. There's a climate menu in here. The screen should be faster for 2025, but it's about the same as most other vehicles on the road these days. You've got some settings and features. A side screen right here that can show you your trip, odometer, stuff like that, average fuel economy. And then you've got some quick access controls down here to turn off stop start, traction control, a favorite button, which turns on sport exhaust. That's cool. And then you can customize a custom mode, but you can only choose a base drive mode, and your dampers, you can't choose sport dampers and normal drive mode. You can choose your steering, traction control, exhaust, but your dampers are married to whatever drive mode you select as that base drive mode. Oh, and then this is cool. Excuse my voice, just woke up here in the morning. Still a little bit gruff. We've got new gauges. So you can choose between, let's go into our custom mode here. SVT Cobra 99 to 01, Fox Body 87 to 93. We've seen that before. And then there's a new one, Classic 67 to 68. It's so cool that Ford does this. This is neat. That's a good use of a digital gauge cluster. And then, of course, there's normal, sport. That's just hard to read and confusing. Calm. I feel calm already. And track. Cool. Nice linear gauge sweep there. We'll just stay. You know what? I think my favorite is the SVT Cobra. That's awesome. Okay, we've got some track apps, acceleration timer, brake performance, lap timer. Oh yeah, there is the drift brake. There it is. Cool, that's a neat feature. Never tried it, because we haven't had a Mustang on track yet, but someday we will. Auxiliary gauges. We can see some more information in there. I like that. Cool to see. My color. There we go, we can customize that. Kind of our display theme color. Cluster theme, you can match the drive mode, or set one of these themes to be there all the time. All right, so some neat interaction points there. Here's what CarPlay looks like. As you can see, kind of cycling through this infotainment screen, everything seems to be working better than it did in our last review. Here's what a reverse camera looks like. Nice. No 360 cam for your $64,000, but that's okay. Seat belts. Ugh, these seatbelt keepers just do not keep the seatbelt in place. You have to reach all the way back to grab it. And that's the same case for the passenger side as well. Interior materials. Seats feel nice. This armrest is nice and soft. Soft points right here for your arms to rest. This is okay. Really hating these faux carbon fiber accents around the steering wheel. They just look so cheap. Same right here. All this fake plastic carbon fiber stuff just doesn't look good in my opinion. The buttons feel nice. Everything else is a screen. The steering wheel buttons are nicely defined, though I feel like there should be more gauge cluster customization here. Like I should be able to go back and select a My mode or something. I don't really know what's going on. There just isn't really a whole lot to do. You can change your steering feel. That's nice. But I would like to be able to change steering, exhaust, suspension right from the wheel like I can in my Ranger Raptor. That would be awesome. Or down here at a moment's notice without having to go into a separate screen to do that. But I guess you'd set this all up in your custom mode and you could just go from there. Your drive mode selection is all right here on the wheel. That's nice. So slippery, drag strip, track, sport, normal, and custom. We'll just start off in normal mode today. Light controls over here, and then a physical button for dimming your gauge cluster. Love to see it. Ford gets it. Otherwise, it's all just pretty standard Mustang interior in here. We've got more screens like we do in all vehicles these days. I like this accent right there. That looks good. No B&O sound system here for your $64,000. I feel like that's probably an option that wasn't checked. and no heated or ventilated seats here. So a few things missing. These mirrors are super tiny. There's a pretty big blind spot right here that you kind of have to make up for by positioning your mirror correctly. No sunroof, though we do get a sunglass holder and visors with. Is that called HomeLink? Maybe it is, I can't remember. Anyway, that opens your garage door. Love the feel of this shifter. It would be nice to get a way to shift gears down here as well as up here. At least we have paddle shifters. The last Mustang we had, the EcoBoost Performance, didn't even have paddle shifters behind the wheel. So you have to get a GT to get those, I guess. Here we are. We've got them. We're going to use them today. On first impressions, this new 10-speed automatic is a huge improvement over the previous generation, the S550 10-speed. It's smoother, it's more predictable in its shifts. It's still not the most intelligent transmission out there, but it works. Sometimes it does sound a little like a CVT because it's shifting through all 10 gears sometimes, and it just kind of winds up and gives you the revs and then keeps banging off shifts. And those shifts can sound a little bit slushy sometimes, but you could always just also get the manual transmission, which is probably what I would do. Still though, as an automatic, this isn't as tragic of a driving experience as it was, in my opinion, with the S550 Mustang. This is a big improvement. Someone was having fun out here recently. All right, let's get this out onto the road. We'll get a bit of temperature into the system here. Let's put this in manual mode and sport. Paddle shifters are still plastic. We had the same deal with the Mustang Dark Horse. It sounds fantastic. And there's your Cars and Coffee exit crash simulation right there. Stepping sideways from second into third. Oh, I can't get over that exhaust. All right, we are in sport mode, so gearbox is going to do its own thing. We are going to leave traction control on today because it is chilly out. Is that an apex cone? At speed, let's go back into, you know what? Let's do our custom mode. We'll engage cruise control. You know what? We don't have adaptive cruise control. We just have regular old cruise control. What's up with that? The Mustang used to have a really good adaptive system. Again, why isn't that standard in this car? Weird. With the exhaust in sport mode, a little bit of noise going down the highway in quiet. It's completely silent. Wind noise, road noise, not too bad, even on these Pirelli P0 summer performance tires. We do have a few rattles in this cabin, just like we've seen in other Mustangs that we've tested. Something from the seat area here, the dash, the back. Something's always kind of buzzing and rattling in these new Mustang interiors, which is unfortunate, especially considering the price point. Here's exhaust in quiet. Still sounds good when you get into it, but it's a lot less intrusive. Normal mode is kind of my favorite balance, if I'm being honest. I like that you get quick access to CarPlay in the top right of the screen. This display, though, is a pretty long reach. I'm 5'10", seated at my driving position. I pretty much have to lean forward anytime I want to interact with it. It's just a little bit too far away, and for the passenger, it's even farther. You can always play a fun game with your passenger. Operate the infotainment under full throttle. See if they can do it. See if they have the core strength. Chances are, this Mustang's probably a little bit too fast. Similar to the old $100 bill trick on the windshield, but this is just the modern interpretation of that. Going through fuel like crazy. I think we've already burned about 1/8 of a tank on this drive. I don't know what fuel tank capacity is in this. We'll put it in the description. All right, let's have some fun. Go into manual mode. Shift through all 10 of our gears. Is 10 speeds too much for a Mustang? Yes. It's just a lot to deal with. I like what the transmission does in sport mode. We've also engaged sport dampers, so let's see how that affects things. Should be a little bit stiffer. Downshifting on its own into a braking zone. I like that. Hit a few more corners, talk steering feel. You guys can get a pretty good idea for the engine, the transmission feel just from listening to it in the video. That's why we do these POV videos. You can see the revs, you can kind of get an idea of your interaction points with the car. We're going to leave us in sport mode. Test out these Brembo brakes. Pedal feel. Fantastic. Good bite. Nice turn in too. Good power. Lifting a little bit for this corner. Still not the best steering feel here from the Mustang, but it is an improvement over the S550 in my opinion. Not as numb, more direct, a little bit tighter of a rack. Everything just feels like they've just kind of tightened it up a little bit. It's a bit more responsive. Still quite a bit of sidewall on these Pirelli tires, so you can kind of feel some of that squish when you turn into a corner. I like the compliance here. Once it sets, it grips, and it feels good around a corner. Let's test out this sound system while we're just cruising here on the highway. No B&O that I can see. I think it's just the base sound system. We get a volume knob down here. not amazing. The B&O would be better. I can't shake the feeling that in this new Mustang, you should be getting some more features standard, especially if you're getting the premium. Like in my Ranger Raptor, that's a $55,000 starting price. You get the B&O, you get heated seats, you get a heated steering wheel, you get some nice stuff, and this is 10 grand more with options, and I feel like some of those options maybe should be standard here. That's probably the Recaros taking away the heated and ventilated function, but it still looks like they should have them. At least we do get a heated steering wheel. That's nice. It's the perfect warmth. You can just kind of leave it on a cooler morning. It's 47 degrees Fahrenheit out right now, so it's still pretty chilly. So many gears to go through. It is still fun though. It is still engaging. This 5-liter just sounds fantastic, especially in the higher revs. Good amount of decel off throttle. I wish it gave me downshifts a little bit quicker sometimes. Maybe track mode will change that. And it would be cool if Ford tuned in a feature that if you just held the left paddle, it would downshift to the lowest possible gear. So you can just kind of downshift and go. Instead, you have to just hit that paddle about 5 times. Yeah, I'm still denying downshifts there when I really should be giving me the gear. Track mode doesn't really seem to change much. I do like the gauge cluster in track mode though. All right, let's go back into custom. We're just going to cruise a little bit. Ride quality is mostly okay. I still think in normal mode, these Magna Ride dampers are a little firm, a little stiff. Like, I think my Camaro with its Mag Ride is a bit more comfortable in normal mode. It's still not bad. It's totally livable. But I would want a little bit more differentiation between normal, sport, and track. Steering feedback there. I could kind of feel those front tires slipping a bit. You really have to encroach upon the limits of grip to get steering feel out of this new Mustang, but at least it gives it to you. Alright, so how can we sum up some initial thoughts here? We haven't done our road trip yet. We haven't driven this on some proper back roads. We haven't gotten fuel economy numbers or range numbers. We've just kind of hopped in this car this week and give you guys some first seat of the pants driving impressions. I think dynamically, this is an improvement over the previous generation Mustang in a few ways. Steering feel, gearbox tuning. The rest feels all about the same. The interior, I'm still torn on this interior. I don't really like the touchscreen. It's fine, it's livable, it works, but I think there's a better way to go about this. There is just a better way to kind of organize everything. The software needs to be quicker. For 2025, we should have bang-on responsive screens, and this is just a little bit sluggish and clunky. We should have more physical buttons and controls, and I think the interior materials in here are lacking a bit. Your interaction points are mostly okay. Steering wheel leather feels good. Don't like this. The shifter feels fantastic. Handbrake is good. Paddle shifters are just kind of plasticky. have as much of a problem with it if this new Mustang weren't just so dang expensive. But hey, they're the last V8 pony car in the game, so I guess Ford can kind of charge whatever they want these days. Fuel usage. In spirited driving, we just burned 1/8 of a tank in that video. In spirited driving, I feel like every time I go out for a drive in this, I burn a 1/4 tank. So fuel range will probably be okay on the highway, on a road trip, but the rest of the time, you're going to be burning through gas in this new Mustang. That's just the way it's going to be. I love the way it sounds. I like the way it looks. It's a shame Ford is always kind of introducing and dropping colors for different model years. It'd be nice if they just kind of stuck with some of the best colors for a few years. The new yellow, green, just, I haven't seen it in person, but on the configurator, it just doesn't look very good. This is a great color. I love it. As a fun vehicle that's practical, that has great performance, that's a usable vehicle as a daily driver, it sounds fantastic. I mean, the Mustang has always been just one of those great, great options when everyone else has pretty much abandoned V8s. And this is still a great car in 2024, 2025. I would love to test the manual someday. Hopefully Ford can get us access to one. But until then, I could still recommend this automatic. It's a great gearbox. I don't feel like it is as much of a calibration disaster as a 10-speed was in the previous generation. I mean, all right, I spent limited time with the previous gen 10-speed, but I did film one video on a 10-speed automatic Mustang at a Mama rally. It was like the special, everything was white. Everything was whited out. It was like a California something edition. And the gearbox was so bad, it was so rough and so jerky, I had to scrap the entire video. So that's my last impression of the S550 10-speed. I feel like here they just smoothed everything out and made it more intuitive. They could still improve it, but it's pretty darn good. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm sure owners, after the transmission is calibrated to your driving style, or maybe that was just an off car, it was a mess, who knows. It's okay, but yeah, this is definitely an improvement in my experience, and that's consistent over multiple vehicle loans that we've had. The rest, we've talked about it. We'll see you guys in the next video. We'll talk about a road trip in this Mustang. We're going to be driving this down and my Camaro SS1LE. We might do a little bit of a comparison video, Mustang versus Camaro. Why not? Why wouldn't we? It just looks good too. Proper pony car proportions. Nice floor mats too. Oh, there's that reach. It's quick. It is quick.